The wee man, he was born in the caul.
The caul?
So he was born in the bag. Apparently it's a really rare thing. And the nurse that was there at the time, she was just a trainee nurse. She says very, very few nurses get to experience a birth where the baby's born in the caul.
That is mental.
In fact, you know what? I'm going to look it up. One of the myths is that babies born in the caul can never drown. This is not true.
Is it dangerous?
Well, they had to rip the bag open as soon as it came out.
Yeah, apparently it's 1 in 80,000 babies are born like that.
1 in 80,000. According to folklore, babies born in the caul are destined for greatness. Yeah, when Kerry went into labour, this track was playing on shuffle in the background, and it was very apt. And I'll always remember that track in connection to the wee man being born, and it was a remix.
Let's talk about our favourite remixes then. Hello, Weird Air Mist. I'm Craig.
I'm Ali.
This week we're going to talk about some of our favourite remixes. Strange compiling this list because some of them have got stories, some of them don't, some of them we just like. Start you off with Ali's birthing story.
Yeah.
Remix.
Knocked Up by the Kings of Leon, remixed by Lykke Li, the Rodeo remix. When Ellis was born, this track was just on in the background, and it's a beautiful track. It's emotive, really well recorded. Lykke Li's vocals on it are really amazing.
It's very chill, isn't it?
It's totally different from the original track. The original track is da 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 bam 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 bam. You know, it's got that snare. I remember listening to that album when it came out, and the first thing I remembered was the grittiness of it and the heavy snare sound. You know, it was really amazing. I don't care what nobody says, we're gonna have a baby.
It's a kind of original track, but it mixes in the Kings of Leon version in the chorus, so I like that. It's
centred around that really high-end arpeggiated guitar peppered into the track, and they've made a real feature of that, which I really, really, really like. I like it how she sings alongside Caleb's gruffy tones, and how she's singing something slightly different in the first verse, so they're kind of almost responding to each other. I just think it's an amazing remix. It's very emotional and quite special for me. It's one of those remixes where I actually prefer it to the original song. The original is amazing, but the remix is quite a special track. There you go, that's my first one. Boom!
Brilliant.
Boom shakalaka.
So the next one, we discovered this just by sheer luck on, I think it was kind of early version of Tidal. We're just scrolling through looking for tracks. We find this absolute beasting remix, Max Graham's remix of Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was when we were doing reality TV, and you and I and Jason were at mine in the studio.
The room you're in right now.
I think Jason had brought a tasty bottle of tequila. Come on, light. I think it got to that time at the end of the night where we'd finished putting down some tracks, and we just were listening to some tunes and chilling out.
Yeah, specifically it's the Conhertz remix. It's like 5 minutes long, and it's got all this trancey Pink Floyd-y build up. It's like he's added a lot to the track.
It sounds like he's re-recorded the whole thing, apart from the vocals.
Apart from the vocal.
It's got that club sound to it. It's just oof, 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 da 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 da.
The original was already great, like the mix of it and stuff. Like if you just turn that up really loud, you know, it's already quite dancey. But to just take it to that kind of trance place, it's just...
I like a bit of prog myself, and Yes are certainly right up there for me. I managed to get to see them at the Armadillo back in, I think it was 2014. With Steve Howe and Chris Squire.
Wish you saw Chris Squire. You know, he died not too long after that. So
a big Ricky player as well. So I really like his tone. And whilst we like to listen to a variety of genres as well, for our record we wanted it to have a taste of that club sub kick sound. You know, there's always been that. We wanted
and all the kind of like whooshiness, like the build-ups and the rises and stuff.
Things,
Well, we've incorporated a lot of that into our own tracks, and it definitely, I think a lot of it does stem from that track when we first heard that. It's funny though, like even the original version of the track by Yes samples a track by Funk Inc., Cool Is Back, which is a cover of a Kool and the Gang song.
Yeah.
And the samples like a sped up drum break and the horn stab, followed by some Fairlight playing.
it gives you this build up with the bass line. So the bass line is like, it continues, it's a more driving bass line. It's da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 da, and then it just rises. Bum 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 bum.
It just modernises the track, you know, in a great way.
Yeah, it's good.
Brilliant.
And the guitar parts are fantastic in it as well.
Almost Johnny Marr-esque parts, you know, with that kind of like jangly guitar line.
And interestingly, it was a bootleg remix, and it ended up at number 9 in the UK charts, which is quite astounding. I think that was one of Max Graham's biggest remixes, but go and check out Max Graham's remix of Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes. Number 3, Tres, is The Source feat. Candy Staton. You got the love I need to see me through. There's so many versions of this song, but the original remix really stands out. It's got that wee sparkly synth at the start, which quite similar to some of the tracks we've got on our
big
record.
Influence, this track. Big influence.
And of course that big fat bass line. With this one, it's actually 2 songs mixed together, similar to another one we're going to be talking about. The first one being You Got the Love by Candy Staton in 1986.
She actually recorded that one for a documentary. The a cappella was ripped right out for that, mixed with Chicago house track by Frankie Knuckles called Your Love. The sparkly synth line and the bass line, we know. Somebody had the idea of putting the two together, and that was The Source. Candy Staton didn't actually remember recording the track. Done that track for the documentary, right? But the documentary never really got, I don't know if it got released or not, but when the track went on to be a massive hit, she was like, that's me, but I don't remember
doing it.
You wonder how that happens, but it's a really great vocal, it's a great song, great lyrics, great melody. The Frankie Knuckles track's just an absolute banger as well.
It's fantastic.
Why not put the two together? Works brilliantly.
Which leads us into the next one, which also samples 2 songs. Milo, In My Arms. In my arms, baby, yeah.
It's not technically a remix if we're getting remix.
It's close enough, and it's got the end line of Waiting for a Star to Fall by Boy Meets Girl, which I think is quite clever. He's just taking the tail end 3 lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if he meant to do this or not, but it got married up with Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes. I remember when that album came out, there was a really clever marketing campaign behind that album, Destroy Rock and Roll, and that was the front cover, was just Destroy Rock and Roll stenciled out and spray painted on, and they spray painted it all over Glasgow and probably loads of other places, but I think they managed to find some kind of legal loophole where that they could spray paint it onto electrical boxes and get away with it. So every electrical box that you would walk past or drive past, you would see this Destroy Rock and Roll, and I wonder if he'd set out to use both of the samples off of each song, or whether he started with one.
My theory is that I bet he's always thought those tracks had something similar that would work.
Because they are very similar sounding tracks from a melody point of view.
Number 4 is another absolute club banger, Norman Cook's remix of Brimful of Asha by Corner Shop.
I think NME billed this at one point as number 2 in the all-time greatest remixes. It's when you listen to the original tune that Corner Shop recorded of Brimful of Asha, I think in 1997.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, it got to number 60 in the UK charts, which I think is pretty incredible, considering it sounds like it was recorded in a dingy old studio rehearsal room during a practice for a midweek gig.
Testament though to how good the songwriting is, you know.
I think so, yeah.
It's a good song. We'll leave some links in the description, you can go and compare them.
Yeah.
It is worth doing, because it's interesting to see what an artist hears in a track and just goes, I can make that a banger.
I have to say that the strings at the end of the song are really, really nice. They're really tasteful. One of the first ever bands that was in. And if you didn't start a song at the right tempo, you would get that stare of death from the singer, usually directed at the drummer, you know, the wide-eye stare.
Starting slow is better than running away with it though, to the point where you can't keep up with it. It's like a good blueprint for what a remix should be. Like, it retains the core elements of the track. It actually retains most of the structure of the track.
Yeah.
You know, it has all the verses and stuff. Accentuates the song with different textures, different kind of synth sounds and stuff like that, different risers. and just gives it a bit more energy, you know. And I think it gives the band more exposure, you know. And I'm assuming Norman Cook must have liked Corner Shop.
I'm sure Corner Shop like Fatboy Slim, considering they took the
Yeah,
the track to number 1. And lastly, number 6, we've went for Justice versus Simeon. We Are Your Friends. Because we are your friends.
I knew this track was a remix, but I had no idea the track that it was a remix of was, I don't know, I didn't like the original track. I really didn't like it, you know. It's interesting because
Yeah, there's harmony parts in that vocal that take it somewhere completely different.
Yeah,
it's a completely different song.
They're a Manchester band in the 2000s doing kind of psychedelic pop stuff. Similar to Corner Shop, the track just sounds a bit, but obviously Justice, I mean, they're a French dance duo. They've obviously heard this track and just thought that vocal was brilliant. We need to
They saw something in it.
it won an MTV award for its music video. The title was used for a movie featuring Zac Efron. Every club night you ever go to now has this track in at some point. I always find that early period with Justice really relatable because it was all done on GarageBand apparently, and a lot of the samples and sounds and stuff just feel familiar to me. I don't know what it is. Like, there's one of the tracks in that first album, I've used the same sample in Step Into the Light, one of our tracks. Respect to them using GarageBand because it's free.
It's not industry standard. It just goes to show what you can do with some basic tools. Is that how you got into Justice?
Yeah, because I was trying to find if anyone had really used GarageBand. If you're someone out there that's using that, I mean, you get it free on iPhones now.
Quite interesting because we've taken some of the elements of those remixes. They're definitely in the Der Mist album, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think we've took a lot of the kind of energy that these remixes add to the original tracks.
Spiced them up a little.
It's only now that we're talking about it, I'm kind of realising that.
So yeah, thanks for watching. You've been watching Der Mist Mondays. Remember to like, share and subscribe and hit that bell. If you've got any favourite remixes, put them in the comments below.
Check out the description for various links to the original tracks. Hopefully we can find them all, and the remixes. Check them out.
We'll see you next week. We'll catch you on the flip-flop.
See ya!
Bye! And cut.